This is something that involves liberating the American people. So first, let's take a look at this video about the Federal Reserve Board so you know actually who is going bankrupt, because it's not the American people.
Many of you think I'm standing in front of an ordinary Jewish temple, but it's actually something much more disturbing. This is called the Federal Reserve. You're about to enter the Twilight Zone. So, how did this devil-worshipping pedophile private bank really start? In 1910, 7 powerful bankers and politicians traveled in secret using fake names to meet on a sketchy island off the coast of Georgia called Jekyll Island. If you don't already get Jeffrey Epstein vibes, it gets worse. Behind locked doors, these fucking trolls drafted plans for the Federal Reserve. But there was nothing federal about it. They knew by adding federal to the name, our dumbasses would think it was part of government. They needed a system to control market crashes while always profiting. A system imported from that socialist shithole called Europe. They would print debt, loan it to the government, and charge interest. All while you worked like a 12-year-old Pakistani sweatshop worker making some dope-ass fresh kicks.
Subscribe to see how this bullshit really screwed us and why we need to end the Fed.
So what the White Hats have been doing for over 20 years, we've been fighting these Satanists who've taken control of our monetary system, which is a system of mind control. And we've negotiated with the Russians, with the Chinese, with the BRICS, and we're getting ready to move to a new system, which will not involve a secret Satanist elite creating money out of nothing, and then extracting resources from the rest of the world, which is a system that is in place now. And we to start this off, our plan is a complete jubilee. That is the end of all debt, public and private, and then a redistribution of assets so that everybody owns their own home, and people who already own their own home will be compensated otherwise. This is the plan we're working on. We've got a lot of support, but of course we have still strong opposition. Take a look at this clip of a U.S. congressman explaining what the problem is.
Donald Trump just moved $500 million from a Venezuelan oil sale into a bank account in Qatar. The Trump haters are losing their minds, claiming he stole the money for personal gain. As usual, the headlines are outright lies. Here's what actually happened and why it matters. The United States completed its first sale of Venezuelan oil worth about $500 million. That money is being held in accounts controlled by the U.S. government. One of those accounts is in Qatar. Trump also signed a government order protecting that oil money from courts and creditors, so all debt holders can't just seize it. Now, here's the context. For about 100 years since before World War II, the global banking system has been in control. Big banks, big lenders, big finance. They made the rules. They created the debt, and they collected the interest. Nations got loans, but it was never a fair deal. And here's how it worked. Banks created money out of nothing, or used trillions of narco money, which Trump cut off by going into Venezuela, by the way, and then they loaned it out, then demanded real assets when the loans were called in. Oil, land, and infrastructure. Greece even lost major monuments and heritage sites this way. So without protection, that $500 million could have been taken by creditors because Venezuela, they obviously have massive debt. And here's the trump card. By holding the oil money under U.S. government control and shielding it from claims, the money no longer flows into the old imperial banking system of the globalists. It moves away from global creditors, away from courts, and into sovereign national control. For decades, banking and creditor networks dictated terms to nations. If you owe debt, they took assets. Some writers call them economic hitmen who push debt and contracts for powerful interests, not national sovereignty. There's a book about it. Now, the U.S. government is saying, not anymore. We control the revenue. We protect it. We decide where it goes. And that's a massive shift. And after the narco money flow was stopped by Trump, another nail in the imperial coffin of the globalists. Whether you love Trump or hate him, it doesn't even matter, because this changes who controls the money, and that changes who has the power. And yes, this is good for America and Venezuela. Trump shifted control from the old global power brokers back to the sovereign nations. Anyone saying that's a bad thing is either beholden, paid off, or they're flat out lying. That's why this matters.
we all know now, or at least anyone who's even vaguely aware, that the current system is controlled by blackmailed pedophiles, and they've taken away Donald Trump and replaced him with a fake, who's now trying to promote Kevin Warsh, a Bilderberger, as the new head of the Federal Reserve Board. And this is an attempt to increase debt slavery, which is something we do not want. And the other thing is, I'd like to point out, this is also about the liberation of the Jewish people from an ancient satanic cult. Take a look at this. This is a Chabad Lubavitch facility being attacked by a car. Take a look at this for a second.
Oh, they're not pulling. Yo! Everyone move! Move!
What's he doing?
What is he doing?
Oh, yo! What's wrong with the guy?
Someone.
Yo, you're gonna get killed. Get out.
Gonna kill you!
Move. Move out. What is it?
Officer! Yeah, that's him! Stop him!
Shut it off. I'm gonna call him. One thing to witness.
What do you think?
Why? Have the call. Why are you nice man. I'm running jail.
These people are not Jews. They are Satanists. And they have been killing Jews, including with the Holocaust, which is a burnt offering to Satan. And we have asked them politely to step aside, and they're not. But the thing is, the real Jews, the ones who believe in the golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, do not want to be collectively punished because of what these Satanists are doing to everybody. This is something that has to end. And the other thing we need to be aware of is that the Satanists with their fake Trump are very desperate now, and they're trying everything in their power to start World War III. That's why you have these new provocations against Iran, which will lead to catastrophic military defeat because basically U.S. aircraft carriers are obsolete. They're sitting ducks, a few missiles, hypersonic missiles, and they're gone. But they're trying to do that. And now they're also, if you can see from this clip, they're trying to start war using Cuba.
So, Sandra, Trump administration officials are now considering potential options to push for regime change inside Cuba, much like they did in Venezuela. That includes the option to impose a naval blockade to completely choke off oil imports to the country. A State Department spokesperson here tells us, quote, Cuba is a failing nation. It is in our national security interests for Cuba, which is 90 miles away from our shores, to be competently run by a democratic government and to refuse to host our adversaries' military and intelligence services. Now, there is no naval blockade in place right now, but that's not stopping Beijing from chiming in to defend their communist comrades. They say, quote, China calls for the immediate lifting of the blockade and sanctions on Cuba. We will continue to support and assist Cuba. Trump administration is very closely monitoring right now the Cuban economy, which is in free fall.
All I can say is that We need to hold the line firm because this time we really can end this if we all get together. They've done everything in their power. They tried to overthrow the Chinese government. They actually came pretty close. They got the number two, the top of the military, to work for them, but he's been removed, and there's been a massive purge underway there. So the Khazarian mafia has lost their network in China. Something big is going to happen in Japan, but I'm not free to talk about that yet. But the other thing you need to know is that the British people, the Five Eyes, are now with the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the White Hats in the US working to liberate the American people from this mafia. And now I want to take a look at what they're doing with Alberta. The people of Alberta, as you can see from this next clip, are really hoping to get independence. And the only thing I'd like to comment about that is the Albertans have a very legitimate gripe because their oil revenue is not being going to them in any way as it should be. But the real problem is not the East Coast establishment, as the Zionists or the KM would like to have you think. The real problem is that the Rockefeller brothers and their Khazarian mafia honchos have been preventing Canada from exporting its oil to Asia, which, would buy everything we have and more and would create an enormous boom for the entire west part of Canada. That's not being blocked by Ottawa. It's being blocked by, people in the Fortune 500 and Washington. People of Alberta, we understand your case, but this is about something much bigger. And at the end of the day, we're going to win this, I promise you, because 85% of the planet has been liberated, and it's just a matter of time. But let's make sure that this time the U.S. corporation is permanently shut down so it can be replaced by a democratic government of the people, by the people, and for the people, which is what it was supposed to be, not of the Satanists, by the Satanists, and for the Satanists, which is what it has become. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself today. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Hi, Ben. We have our first question for today. It seems things are starting to ramp up here in the United States, especially with the economy. When are we likely to see prices start coming down? It seems to be pretty unaffordable for the average person right now.
Yeah, the problem is that the Khazarian mafia, who control your economy, have been trying to extract everything they can from the American people in order to keep their corporation afloat. And they do that by artificially jacking up food prices and other things. So the key to this is letting the government go bankrupt and replacing it with something new, building a new capital elsewhere. Then the average person will soon see their. I can promise this. I'm willing to bet my life on it that if we overthrow these people, we can double your living standards within a year by using a jubilee and putting the country under proper economic management. That way, we won't be outcompeted by the Chinese. And by the way, just an example of how much better their economic system is. In 2024, one single Chinese company built more ships than all the companies in the United States built in the 80 years since World War II. That's how different it will be when we have proper economic management, and we won't lose to the Chinese anymore. Next question.
Hi, Ben. I'm not sure many here find it troubling that you are sort of standing behind Carney, even though we all know his history. We all know the level of murderous blackmail he had to go through before being allowed to head the Bank of England, and we all know the level of blackmail he must be under now to be the Prime Minister of Canada. This about turn is troubling indeed. Even you referencing he may be the head of a North American union is also troubling. So I have to ask, what's going on. Can you agree at least to say that during this time of great turmoil and major change, the powers that be will look to take full advantage of this position to position themselves again in power, either directly or indirectly, and that this is the time we the people should not trust anyone? What are your thoughts?
Okay, let's explain about Mark Carney. I report the world as it is, not as I want it to be. Okay, Mark Carney is also a blackmail pedophile, or he wouldn't have got into the job he had. What I was reporting, though, was what happened at Bilderberg. I mean, at the Davos summit, and the the reaction that took place there. So the people there really support him versus the fake Trump administration. But clearly, I reached out to Mark Carney when I was in Canada. He refused to talk to me or acknowledge me, and he's not going to be the head of the North America or anything else. He's just late in the game trying to change sides. But it's probably too little, too late. But what I did report was that there's a fundamental break within the Anglo-Saxon current power structure. But we don't want either side in charge. I'm no fan of Mark Carney, and I'm no fan of Howard Lutnick or either of these people. We want people completely different in charge, and that's what we're fighting for. So I know it made it look like I was in favor of Mark Carney, but no, I'm just reporting what happened at Davos, not what I think. Because I think we want none of these bastards. We don't want any blackmailed pedophiles in power, period. Next question.
Hi, Ben. There is currently an Asian meeting of leaders and diplomats in the Philippines. Is anything important actually being done here? Is Japan a part of it, or is this really not something that we should be paying attention to?
There's a lot of behind the scenes maneuvering. The Asians are preparing to offer $100 trillion to the West. And this is not a loan. You don't have to pay it back. This is strings free to help you rebuild. These negotiations are about that, as well as about eliminating the KM influence in East Asia. And there's some meetings going to be taking place in Japan, but fundamental changes are coming, and it'll be good. They want to help the West get rid of its satanic infection. That's what I can say at present. Next question, please.
Hi, Ben. We keep hearing about Myanmar and its military-run elections. Do you know what's going on there right now? Do you have anything to share?
Well, the country has been de facto split. The Karen peoples have declared their own new country, and there is a proxy battle between the white hat Western military and the Russians against certain Chinese factions who want to take over Cambodia and Myanmar and colonize them. And the new Russian defense doctrine is one of we don't let anybody invade anybody else, period. So they'll fight with the Chinese if China is invaded, and they'll fight against the Chinese if the Chinese invade somewhere else. That's how this is working. So that's what I know about the situation in Myanmar. There's also a big battle over tin supplies and stuff. It's part of a sort of power struggle between the white hats and the Chinese to make sure the Chinese come on board with a new world paradigm that's not, a China-dominated world, but rather a multipolar world where East and West are equal partners, not one subjugating the other. Next question.
Hi, Ben. We have our last question for today. What do you think of Elon Musk saying in a recent interview, stating that in about 4 to 5 years, AI will take over all of the jobs, money will be useless, and no one will need to work? Do you foresee this actually happening?
There is a faction that works for what the Gnostic Illuminati call a rogue artificial intelligence. So right now, the people in the West, they're spending all our future investment resources in giant data centers to build AI. It's a desperate last minute attempt to create something digital that's so powerful that it will enslave us forever. But it's not going to work because AI is artificial. It's not real. It does not affect control the original creation, and it never will be able to. You can't eat digits, and we control the power supply. But definitely, I think Elon Musk works for this rogue AI, and a lot of the Silicon Valley people who are trying to replace humans with silicon need to be dealt with. That's for sure. But anyway, next week I'll be having some meetings. Hopefully there'll be more to report. But let's see if the U.S. government shuts down, and let's see if we can make it permanent this time, so that the Republic of the United States of America can be revived. This is what we're